Hi, I'm Pantazi. We're going to be talking about the hook punch some more. Now, last week we went through a series of 8 targets on the head and we showed you demonstrations, we showed you the anatomical studies of them, as it was a throwback to an old video I did, Anatomy of a Hook Punch, renamed in Black Belt Magazine with the article. But we didn't develop it any further than that for the magazine or the first video. Now, we worked on it a little bit just to recap and show you more the anatomical studies, because we didn't have that kind of software or that kind of ability back then to really get into the detail of what was really occurring. So it was also the paradigm to be using the pressure points. Now, this week in the extended videos, we're going to be covering body shot. And one of the body shots that's the most important because it's not covered by muscle mass. Now, in the beginning, when you look at body shots in boxing, even in MMA or any other kind of fighting, you'll know that there's what's called the liver shot. And we'll be covering that to show you the best way to hook into the body or the torso to ramify on the liver and get that knockout, that unconsciousness, that pain factor that you've seen so many boxers and fighters go through, and why it's a devastating punch. And the only punch or only target that got hit on Joe Louis, by his own words, that almost took him out. Anyway, I digress. There are certain parts of the torso that are more exposed than others. Now, the solar plexus, everybody knows, is a good shot. Now, it's not even actually the solar plexus, but I've covered that in past videos. But getting hit right underneath the sternum is a devastating blow. It takes the wind away because it strikes the diaphragm muscle. It also hits on top of the liver a little bit. So you got a double factor, and hit well enough, you can connect with the stomach also and cause further grief for the individual. And that's just, again, right in the old classical solar plexus. But there are other targets on the body that can dysfunction the body. Now, when you're wearing padded gloves, especially like the boxing gloves, the big 16 ounces, it's going to be hard to get a really good shot on the body unless you use substantial amount of power, which is no problem, because if you're in a real altercation or you're in a boxing match, you're going to be using your real power anyway. But when you're just working around in the dojo and you're just sparring with each other and you want to get the factor working for you, a light shot to this area will get the person a little bit fatigued, and it builds up each time you connect with this shot. Using a hooking punch downward, you're going to be weakening their arms, their torso, their legs, because what happens is it ramifies on the blood systems also, and that drops the blood pressure. Now, blood pressure, if your blood pressure drops, the amount of blood available to your muscles also diminishes, and the muscles are fed by the blood in part, and if they're not pumped up with the blood, they're not going to sustain your weight. And eventually, that's why the arms drop, and then eventually, as it weakens the torso, the hands and the shoulders will drop, leaving the head exposed for quick follow-up. Or if you keep pounding on this target, the legs will give out eventually and the person will pass out. Now, if you put substantial amount of power, it will be an instantaneous, well, semi-instantaneous, because the blood pressure drop takes a few seconds to enact. You will get a drop anyway when you strike this correctly, because there's nerve implications as well in this target. So follow up on the extended video here on Patreon, and of course in the Platinum subscription. And let's get on to the targeting and the demonstration.